What is up, my beautiful people, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about salt. Basically, everything you need to know when you're doing a low carb diet. Specifically, it is so important that you consume salt. Now, for some reason, my brother had told my mother that salt was bad years ago, and I didn't know this. So she was going years and years and years without consuming or putting salt on her food, and her legs started to swell like balloons. And I said, "Well, Mom, what are you doing for your electrolytes? Are you taking salt?" She said, "I don't put salt on my food." I said, "No. Right now, we're going to start putting salt on your food so we can get the connection between cells, the communication between cells, and enough water in the cell, and then enough for you to pee out water as well by adding sodium into your diet, right?" Because if you don't have enough potassium, your body will hold on to sodium. If you're not taking enough salt, you're dumping potassium and you're just dropping your fluids. And oddly enough, if you don't have enough salt, your body will try to use whatever salts from meats or anything from your body and hold on to it. Instead of expelling the salts that you don't need, the body starts to hold on to any type of salt, and it just messes up the homeostasis and the balance between cells in your body. Make sure you have salt. Now, let's talk about electrolytes. Now, people keep asking me, how much, um, why does everybody call when I'm doing these live streams, especially people I really need to talk to? One sec, guys. I hate doing this because I'm not starting over. I'm not. I'm just going to tell them in 5 minutes. That's how long it should take to do this video. Okay. So we need to have our electrolytes balanced. Sodium and potassium work together. Like I said, if you don't have enough potassium, your sodium will be too high. I hope I said that correctly before. If you have too much salt, it'll drop your potassium, and your body can't regulate its fluid or the communication between cells for like muscle contraction. And that's when people might notice like heart palpitations or not getting enough oxygen to their heart. They'll develop in the day, if you're low potassium because your sodium's too high, you'll notice that your face will twitch or you'll get locked muscles in the day, and at night is when you develop cramps for magnesium, but that's a whole nother subject. Now, magnesium and potassium, they work together. A lot of these electrolyte product junk garbage drinks have potassium chloride in them. Now, potassium chloride mineral is very hard on the liver. And if the liver is not functioning properly, then it's also difficulty for the kidneys, and the whole biliary duct system has issues. And that's why we look for our potassium in food. Not so much the chlorides, kind of dangerous. And then the alternative is potassium citrate, if you can tolerate it, if you don't have a histamine reaction to citric acid. But let's get back to the salt. There are different kinds of salt that people consume. Now, basically, I have people eat salt with an avocado. Because in a medium-sized Hass avocado, I've heard all kinds of numbers. You hear from 350 to 600 milligrams of potassium, all the way up to 900 for medium Hass, which I'm kind of thinking it's more higher. I believe that Hass avocados will have more like 900 to 1200 milligrams of potassium. Now, I notice people do well around 1,000 milligrams of potassium, and that if you did potassium citrate supplement, for example, because you have a sensitivity to avocados, then you would get, you could only go as high as 400 really before it starts to be a problem. And then you would start to get stuff from things like meat broth or a little bit from a cruciferous vegetable or the meat itself, which will get you up closer to 1,000. I mean, 500 max with potassium citrate, but you better have a really good and regulated ALT, AST, and your kidney function, your GFR. Everything should be in flow for any type of supplemental electrolyte powder to be higher in number. Food, when you get stuff from food, like if you're trying to get iodine from potassium iodide Lugos, run, burn it, toss it. Bad, 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 bad. You cannot have potassium iodide. That's why when people are doing like the iodized salt or ionized salt, and it's got potassium iodide in it, iodide, and you don't have selenium, you can create issues with the thyroid, including potential cancer. So get off the Lugos, my people, and don't do the drops. Super dangerous. Now, let's keep going, shall we? We want rock salts or the sea salts that are unprocessed. So, the salt my mom always used, the sea salt, was like, or just the Trader Joe's, for example, sea salt is it's gonna be a little bit of a problem because of the microplastics, or your basic table salt is gonna have the potassium iodide. This I don't like the salt, the regular white bleached, like processed salts that have a lot of ocean mic micro plastics. Bad. Chemicals, forever chemicals in our body. Not good. Now I was consuming Redmond's real salt for a hot second, and then people are like, "Oh my God, Redmond's lead free mama." She has a website. She was like, "They found lead in Redmond's," so I stopped taking Redmond's and I started consuming Celtic sea salt. But the thing is that if you're trying to balance out your salt on a keto or sodium on a keto or carnivore diet, where we tend to lose more fluid and minerals rather than somebody who's eating carbs or even low carb, high fat, this has less sodium chloride content in it, less salt. So you'd have to use more of it, right? So if I'm saying eat 5 grams of your basic Himalayan, right, or Redmond's rock salts. Well, with this type of sea salt, you're going to have to do a little bit more because it's 15% of it is just water. It's all sticky and it's hard to use in a shaker because it's like clumped together. But the Celtic sea salt really is the safest salt. I mean, the mycotoxins are like barely any because it's like at low tide. It's off the coast of Brittany, France, and at low tide, they have these weird pools. They look like rice fields, but they're not. Okay. And then the water, shallow water, the salts are going into the water, and then they go through this filtration process, and then you're getting the Celtic salts that have 60 minerals. And I guess Himalayan has the most, has like 80, and I think Redmond's has something like 60 with trace minerals. But some of them have different profiles of like, zinc and copper and like magnesium and manganese or chloride, which is the salt, potassium. Pretty much they have different minerals, but it's very tiny, my people. Very tiny. But a really cool hack off of watching a video was somebody said you can get the magnesium out of Celtic salts by putting it under your tongue and letting it dissolve or like eat it and then drink glass of water, and then you're getting more magnesium that way. I don't know how. I guess maybe it's dissolving in the water and it's more concentrated, but that's what that person said. So I started doing that recently, when summer's starting and it's hot, to see if I can stay more hydrated or have less muscle cramps without constantly having to do magnesium glycinate and shove it in the mouth all day long, or doing magnesium transdermal lotions. Now, with that said, Redmond's is coming from Utah. I mean, these are ancient salts, my people, when there used to be oceans that go around. And the Himalayan salt is actually coming from Pakistan. And it's beneath the earth in these caves. And then they use the only thing that kind of sucks, and you got to look for the quality, because sometimes they'll add caking agents. This is the problem with the toxins with the Himalayan salts. They'll add caking agents, or they'll use gunpowder to blast, right? There's going to be lead. So the controversy of lead in the Redmonds is that there's going to be, our bodies already have lead in it. There's lead in the air. Our bodies, it's a mineral, and like our body uses lead to some varying degrees. When there's too much, that's when it becomes very toxic to the cells. And then you would literally have to be careful with any type of lead or heavy metal exposure if you're getting large amounts of it. But the controversy is that some people say that it's got very low levels of lead. Nothing to worry about. You'd have to eat gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs and gobs of salt to overtoxify yourself with lead toxicity. I don't know. I really don't know. So apparently, Himalayan has the most amount of lead per gram than, let's say, a Celtic sea salt. Now, from the sea beds, the dried out sea beds under the ground, also of Utah, the Redmond area. Where's it called? It's in Utah. It's called Redmond. What is it called? I can't remember the area, the actual area of the town, but it's underground, and then people have also, like, lead-free mama has found lead in that, and you don't find lead in the Celtic. So some people prefer to use the Celtic sea salt because they know they're getting, like, their filtration of the mycotoxin plastics in Celtic is supposed to be, like, amazing. So there's, like, very tiny amounts, and then there's, like, no lead or very, very small amounts of lead. So it is touted as the safest type of salt. It's considered a gray salt. Like I said, it's got water in it, so it's a little clumpy. The Himalayan salt, the website or whatever I was reading, the best or the most safe certified Himalayan salt is a company called Himala Salt, right? You don't want to basically get your basic grocery store salt, because now we have to worry about all the plastics and forever chemicals and things in our environment and in our foods. So that was a brand that I heard was good. Now, let's see here if I missed anything. Oh yeah, the packages, like, okay, so you're not getting the plastic exposure from the salt, but you're getting it from the stupid packages. And that's another thing with lead. Like, they found lead in the Kerrygold butter, not only in the wrapper but actually in the butter itself. So, like, we're just swimming in this stuff, and all we can do is make our intelligent decisions and look for higher quality brands that have less of these freaking heavy metals in them, or forever chemicals, or microplastics. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I covered everything that I can think of. Let's look at the mineral breakdown that is very tiny amounts, right? And then somebody said put it in your mouth, don't put it in water, put it in your mouth, drink it. That's a better way to get the minerals, absorb the minerals, so it's not so diluted. But let's see what we got right here. Boom. Okay. Fabulous. So, the first one is, so we've got chloride, sodium, potassium, sulfur, calcium, iron, phosphorus, iodine, magnesium, zinc, copper. So the first one is Redmond's, the second one is Himalayan salt, and the third one is Celtic. Again, the first one is Redmond's. So in the Redmond's, hello, Steph, can we find the right size? Use this one thing instead. Come on. Okay. So the first one, sorry, my people. We'll just do it like this. I'll just say the first one is Redmond's, and it says it's got chloride in it, which is the salt, and it has the highest amount of salt, right? And then we've got the sodium, which so chlorides. No, sorry, highest levels of chlorides, and the sodium itself is highest in Redmond's and lowest, like I said, because there's water in the Celtic sea salt, and then Himalayan's in the middle. There's no potassium in Redmond's. So that's pretty disappointing when I found out. There's no potassium in Redmond's. There is the highest amount of potassium in Himalayan, and so there's like 525 milligrams in Himalayan and 311 in your Celtic or Celtic sea salts. Sulfur, there is 3 milligrams in Redmond's, and then 18 and 11, like 18.6 and 11.19 in your Celtic. Now, when it comes to calcium, there is none in Redmond's. So this is very interesting too, because we need calcium. So the highest is going to be Himalayan, and the lower amount is going to be Celtic sea salt or Celtic. Iron, right, which we can get iron from our liver. So that's why I prefer it. It's highest in Redmond's, and there's none in your Celtic, and then there's almost nothing in Himalayan. Oh no, 0.001 milligram. My bad. Highest in Himalayan. Iodine. There is 0.45 milligrams in Redmond's, 15 milligrams highest in your Himalayan, and zero phosphorus. This is phosphorus in your Celtic salts. Oh no. I'm sorry. Iodine. There's 0.45 iodine in your Redmond's milligrams, and then 15 milligrams in your Himalayan salt. So the iodine is higher in your Himalayan salt. Interesting. Or 0.045 in your Redmond's and 15 in your Himalayan. Now, there's no magnesium in Redmond's. There's 24 milligrams in Himalayan, and there's 6 milligrams in your sea salt. So Himalayan's really winning here. You've got zinc and copper, 0.003 milligrams in your Redmond's. That's zinc and copper. And then in Himalayan salt, we've got 0.0357 milligrams and 0.0084 milligrams in Himalayan, and 6 milligrams in Celtic, and 3 in your Celtic for zinc, or 0.002, I'm sorry, in your copper. So basically what I'm seeing here is that really you're getting the highest amount of minerals is in your Himalayan salt. And you've got sort of a trade-off between your Redmond's and your Celtic salts. So I think I'm going to do all three. I'm not going to stop my Himalayan salt. I'll get the Himalaya salt. And then I'm going to get the Himalaya salt. I'm going to keep up with the Redmond's because I stopped taking it. Definitely going to take the Celtic salt because that's the safest. And I'm still going to take the Himalayan salt because it's got 85 or 80 to 85 minerals in it, and trace minerals over the other two. I really botched reading those numbers. Sorry, my people. It's like I'm kind of in a hurry to get this video done. But the point is rather that you need salt so your cells can communicate, your heart can get oxygen to it, you can have good muscle contraction and stay hydrated. That is why we need salt. And we need magnesium, and also we need really potassium as well with the salt. So this is some brand. I got it, like, I don't even remember where I got this brand. I used half of it, don't use it anymore. But I'm going to go find that Himalaya salt, and of course be using the Celtic sea salt. And yeah, you can make your own electrolyte drink. Some people are like, oh, lemon for potassium. You're not going to get a lot of potassium from lemon. And some people have a lot of histamine to lemon, so be careful with that. But putting salt, a pinch of salt, you need about a teaspoon a day. You need about 5 to 8 grams, depending on the person and the time of year, with potassium and water and magnesium. I hope this helps my people. I'm out. I'm going to put everything together. I'm going to put the right numbers for what to take, how much potassium to sodium, generally speaking, and the importance of these minerals, because when you're doing a low carb, ketogenic, or carnivore diet, we lose minerals because carbohydrates make your kidneys hold on to water and the minerals. And when you drop out your carbs, and the cells as well, and you just pee out a lot of minerals via the kidneys. So we're hydrated, we're staying nice and puffy and watery and swollen looking on carbs. And then when we stop eating the carbs, we drop a lot of water, and then we drop a lot of minerals. And that is the reason why people are having more muscle cramps and face twitches and hard time speaking and less oxygen and heart palpitation and racing heart on a keto and carnivore diet. So be careful, my people. Stay tuned. All this information is going on the challenge. I'm I'm still working on it. I'm showing my old flow chart. I don't want to like show the other side because I don't want you guys to see. I want to be surprised all the topics and things. I'll announce it closer to sign up. Sign-ups are not yet. You can also sign up for my up for a consultation now if you guys need to speak to me directly one-on-one, and I will get you set straight. I've worked with thousands of people over the years, and I got you. I got your back. I mean, we cover everything: cancer, disease, um, blood sugar dysregulations, the heart palps, the uh, drop in your progesterone and testosterone, and spike in your estrogen, and why is your estrogen spiking, and why is your thyroid underactive. But yeah, cool hack to just put this under your tongue or swallow it and drink water to get more of these tiny amounts of minerals. And like the guy said, one of the guys that I researched, there's small amounts of lead. It's not like gross, negligent amounts of lead. But in this world today, you never know. Like we can't trust anything anymore. Not our produce, not our meats, not the air we breathe, and the water that we drink. And that is the reason why I got a well. This is the reason why I now get just grass-fed beef from neighbors, and I'm going to a butcher for all the other types of meat that I'm getting, and I'm going to get an avocado tree. Hopefully, if all things go correctly, what you do is you get a mature, and I'm going to do a video on all this whole thing. You get a mature tree if you want to produce avocados more quickly. You can't just go plant a seed and expect avocados for years. It'll take years. So for those who are waiting for the world to go kaput, you better get an already mature and a hybridized avocado tree that can withstand the winter, because that's how you do it, right? It's supposed to be in a tropical climate. Can't take the freezing weather. It depends what zone you live in the U.S., how cold it gets. But where I am, it's not very cold. So it will survive the winter if I get a matured 5-year-old avocado tree. Energy at 55, going on 56. Don't forget to subscribe, share this content or channel or these videos. My Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page is Stephanie the Business Person. I've been doing keto for 16 years, 55 going on 56. And I've worked with thousands of people over the years. And if you don't believe me, go back to my old video catalog because, yeah, I'm kind of a dinosaur. But a good one. And I'm out.